Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all well. I am good. Let's get into it because we're here really to talk all things Bat Out of Hell. This is the second of two videos. If you want to know what I'm talking about, stick around, we'll play the intro and then we'll do that whole spiel. Let's do that. So yes, for every show that I like to see, I do two separate videos if time allows. The first of those two videos is the Nervous Guide. The Nervous Guide would have been the last video on this channel. The Nervous Guide is basically everything you need to know about the show before you go in. So things like sensory warnings, content warnings, view from my seat, a little bit of a chat about the theatre, especially if it's a new theatre to me. That kind of thing goes in video number one. Video number two is this one. This is the quote unquote inverted commas review. I always put it in inverted commas because at the end of the day I am just me. I am just one person who enjoys theatre and who likes to chat about it. I see a lot of theatre alone and therefore I have no one to talk about said theatre with. So this way I get to talk to somebody and share my thoughts on a show in a way that is fun to do. Plus I'm really sad, quite enjoy editing, and therefore it gives me something to do at the same time. So that is that. Let's get into it. Let's talk all things Bat Out of Hell, the UK tour. This video has been one that I have not been putting off, but I don't know how it's fully going to go. So long short of it, I had never experienced Bat Out of Hell prior to going into this theatre and into this tour and watching it. I had heard things, some good, some bad, from previous iterations of the show, because it did once upon a time be, that was in English, it was once upon a time in Manchester and also in London a few years back. In fact 2017 I've written down in my notes. And like I said, when it came out I heard people rave about it. I know some people who this is like one of their favourite shows, and then there were other people that I know who were kind of like, this show, what is it, how is this becoming in existence? So you had the good, you had the bad. So I, being myself who enjoys a jukebox musical, there is some of us amongst you, I know it's crazy, but I do, hand on heart, quite enjoy one. I sat in my seat at the theatre. I went to watch it at the Wolves Grand when it was on tour there, and I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm getting myself in for, let's do this. By the interval I think I'd in my head said what the hell about 3 separate occasions and had actually had to take to Wikipedia in the interval because I fully didn't know what had happened, especially at the end of Act 1. I kind of felt a little bit like I was in a fever dream, and that, like I said, there was a few times I was literally like, I'm sorry, what? Normally in these videos I talk about the plot and I don't know if I fully can with this. The way that I wrote it down in my notes is girl falls with for rebel boy, dad doesn't like it, love wins in the end, kinda. Whilst talking about the plot, let's talk about the music and lyrics and such. For this show they all come from one man. The music, the lyrics and the book all come from Jim Steinman. Obviously it uses the greatest hits of Meat Loaf, and Meat Loaf is named in the programme as part of creative associate producer. There we go. But yes, it's all there. And as I said, that is kind of the plot, but there were a few creative choices, and now like I said, I've never seen this show before, so I don't know if these are creative choices that have been made since the beginning and have just been continued on into the tour, and they don't make as much sense with a change of space. And like I said, the plot as well, it has one, it takes a few detours, all ends up happy in the end, question mark. Like I said, for me personally, I did have to go onto Wikipedia at the end of Act 1 once Bat Out of Hell had been sung very well, may I say, and we will get into the cast in a minute. But Bat Out of Hell finished, however, Bat Out of Hell finished after pyrotechnics, flames, fake blood. The character of Strat even puts blood all over his body, and it's all over his hands obviously, and he at one point, and this is why I say it's like a fever dream, because I don't fully know if what I saw happened, but in my memory, and it's still like I was messaging people in the interval, so in my head it did happen. The character of Strat essentially licks his hand that has the blood on it. I was like, what actually did happen at the end of Act 1? I did have to go to Wikipedia to find out that that all happens, and that basically is him crashing his motorbike, and the motorbike essentially is crushing him. Wouldn't have got that without Wikipedia, just saying. And at the end of the day, you don't go to a jukebox musical for a plot. You basically go to a jukebox musical because you like the music. Side note, I found out on the night that I saw that show, I didn't know too much Meat Loaf music. So that was an experience too. As I said, there were some creative choices made that I'm kind of on the fence with. So let's get into those. We had the use of a cameraman. Now the cameraman is, I think, pretty much, yeah, he is put in the programme right there, Tom Samuels, on stage videographer. So fully that is his plot, that is his job, to follow certain moments with a camera, mostly during the scenes in the bedroom area of the stage. The stage is pretty much one and done. The set, which has been designed by John Bozer, probably pronouncing that incorrectly, and the same person has designed the costumes. So yeah, the set is basically stationary. There is a tunnel in the middle of it. There is two sides of sets, two sets of stairs, if you will, round that said tunnel, and then to the one side of stage is a bedroom scene area where there's a bed and a door and a cupboard, very sparse, and at the back wall there is essentially 3 screens. Throughout the show, and like I said, basically during times in the bedroom area, or if something needs to be highlighted to keep the plot going, it is shown on the big screens by this videographer. However, because of the size of the stage and the size of the auditorium at the Grand, you can pretty much sit at the top of the top and see everything that's going on, apart from, for example, at one point in that set area, should I say, there is a gun in a bag. At that point, that was helpful to know that there was a gun in a bag, because that would be useful in a minute. For someone like me who doesn't like visible guns and doesn't like gunshots, it kind of gave me some preparation time. However, there were other times where I didn't understand its usage, and my only thought is that it comes from previous iterations and previous productions of this show, maybe even the one in London, because it was at the Coliseum and also at the Dominion 2 separate times. I think it was both, I could be wrong, please don't fact check. But because those are large spaces, the use of a videographer would work well, but because of the space that I saw it in, it kind of was an odd choice. The other odd choice for me was the fact that every single member of the cast, I think, were all having face / head mics, either there or there, can't quite remember. However, when they were doing their big moments of vocals, they had a handheld microphone as well, and I didn't see the need for both, especially because of the, yeah, I don't know why that was a choice to have both handheld and actual, like, what's the opposite, like a head mic and also a hand mic. I feel like one or the other would have been fine, and sometimes it didn't fully help the situation. For example, there's a song called Paradise by the Dashboard Light, and during that song there is a massive car that comes out, spoiler alert, and that was quite impressive. However, during that song, what also happens is the two people who are mainly singing that song, which are Sloan and Falco, also at some point take their clothes off. See, fever dream. And therefore are holding these handheld mics with whilst it just, why? Help? I don't know. Let's move on to the cast. The cast of this show were absolutely excellent, very hardworking, amazing, cannot say a thing wrong about any of them. Some of them had returned to the show from previous times. For example, the person who plays Strat is Glenn Adamson, and he has previously played Strat in, I think, both London. He's played it in London and during UK, US and Australian tours, so he knows that role inside out, and I hope that he has a great time doing it. He looks like he is. The person, or should I say the people, who are Falco and Sloan are played by Robin Fowler and Sharon Sexton, who also previously have been those roles in London, possibly further afield. I can't read quick enough to confirm nor deny. Yes, they both have. On top of that, the person who plays Raven in this tour is Katie Tonkinson, and she was previously part of Bat Out of Hell during its during a tour and during the Peacock Theatre run, where she was cover of Raven, so she also has that experience too. In our performance, the role of Valkyrie was played by an understudy who was Sophie Rose Emery, who, after I watched this show, discovered she is actually from Wolverhampton herself. So that was kind of cool, seeing someone play a role in a show in a place where they were brought up. It's always fun. Other people I wanted to shout out include Georgia Bradshaw, who played Zahara. Her voice was literally stunning. It had this gorgeousness to it. It had a kind of, there was moments where it's kind of like growly and graspy, and it's like, but her voice was absolutely insane and so beautiful, but also worked really well with the rocky element of this show. Ryan Carter plays Jaguar, who, I mean, I love watching Ryan in things. I've seen him previously in other shows, and it was so exciting to see Ryan in the flesh again. Playing the role of Tink was Carla Bertrand, and again I really enjoyed her performance. Tink is one of those characters that kind of goes on a roller coaster, if you will. She is portrayed to be a younger person than Strat. However, both of them, I believe, are unable to age. That plot again. But I liked watching Tink's character arc. I quite enjoyed that at one point in Act 2, Tink just lies at the top of the stage in front of the band for like a song and a half, and then suddenly the rest of the Lost suddenly like pick her up and take her, and she's all better now. Sorry. This show has some great qualities, such as the cast, but at the same time, this being my first experience of the show, there were so many times when I came out that my mother, who had come to see it with me, was asking questions about it in the car, and I just fully couldn't answer. I was like, I don't know myself, I can't help you out. Going back to the cast, however, let's quickly mention the ensemble. The ensemble, who each get an individual character name for this show. Is it mentioned? Are any of their names mentioned at all during the show? Absolutely not. Apart from Falco, Sloane, Raven and Strat and Zahara. Actually, everyone I've mentioned so far, so Zahara, Strat, Jaguar, Tink, Sloane, Strat, Falco, Raven. They all get their names mentioned and said out loud a couple of times. But does the likes of Denim get a mention? No. The ensemble, however, are absolutely amazing, so ferocious, so hardworking. They just put 120% into this show, especially through their moments when they're doing the choreography which has been done. That's why I've got the program out, because I didn't write this down before. Choreography that has been done by Zena Gusthardt. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked the group elements of it. Like I said, the ensemble were amazing. It's just not going to be my favourite show of the year. There is some beautiful things and beautiful voices and beautiful people in the show, but the plot, and I know the plot is basically a little bit Peter Pan, a little bit of a few other things, but yeah, it very much felt quite fever dreamy, and that is okay, because I think that works in its favour, question mark. At the end of the day, if you are a fan of Meat Loaf's music, then you will enjoy your night out. If you aren't, I don't know. I don't know if this one is for you. This show continues its tour a few stops from the end. So after this week, for the reference, I'm filming this on the 23rd, so by the time Sunday hopefully rolls around and this gets live, it will have just finished at High Wycombe before going to Canterbury, Southend, Sunderland, Eastbourne, Bristol, finishing the tour in Northampton at the Royal and Derngate between the 15th and the 20th of September. Like I said, if you are not going to watch them, if you're not in the mood for something serious and you want something that just feels a little bit crazy, Bat Out of Hell is the one for you. I knew when I started this video it was going to be very much I don't know how it's going to go, and I still don't. The edit might help me, the edit might just continue to leave me speechless. Anyway, I'm going to finish this video here and say thank you very much for watching. Hopefully as we move into August there'll be a little bit more theatre based content and some more reviews. I'm hoping to get out to a few shows over the next month as I have a little bit more time on my hands. But yes, that is pretty much that. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you come back. Have you ever seen A Bat Out of Hell? Have you seen this tour? What are your thoughts and feelings on this show? Feel free to tell me down below, especially if you've seen previously and you want to compare and contrast. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you come back. But all that's left to say is usual, and that is thank you for watching. I love you all lots, and so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, and goodbye. Bye.